Hello folks and welcome to Paddock Pass, your post-qualifying edition for the 2019 British Grand Prix. We came into today with Lewis Hamilton on a run of pole positions at Silverstone and hoping to make it one more, but the Ferraris have looked quick all the way through the weekend. The Red Bulls on one lap pace looked pretty good as well, and after FP3 there was hope we would have a very close fight for pole. And so it proved. We had an incredibly close fight for pole. We will get to that actual run-in for that P1 position later, but first we will start at the start with Q1. Now, all the way through the weekend, it had been interesting to see who was kind of languishing towards the bottom of that midfield pack. Alpha weren't looking great, Racing Point weren't looking great. Haas took the interesting decision this weekend to revert Romain Grosjean back to the Australia spec car with Kevin Magnussen in the newest spec car to try and get on top of the issues that have been affecting them all the way through the season between that really good qualifying pace and really awful race pace. So it was pretty unsure, really. We were all pretty unsure who was going to end up where in Q1. The guarantee, unfortunately, is that Williams will likely be 19th and 20th, and so it proves again. Robert Kubica in 20th. Win picked up on his run, made a difficult day even harder. George Russell just loving his first British Grand Prix. Fans, he said, giving him a bit of warmth on an otherwise cool day. P18, Lance Stroll, we're going to talk to him in a minute. P17, Danny Kvyat, just not in the window at all this weekend. His teammate is bossing it, but Danny just can't quite get into a rhythm with the car. P16, Kevin Magnussen in the new Haas. So he's gone from qualifying P5 in Austria to P16 here and being out-qualified by the original car with no upgrades on it from Australia. So a pretty torrid day for the Dane. He said his front tyres just went on his run. So yeah, that was that. Lance Stroll, P18. Why are we going to talk to him? Well, it's not really a surprise to see Lance Stroll out in Q1. I think it's been every race so far this season he's been out in Q1. But an announcement was made yesterday by the team that their title sponsor, Sport Pacer, will pay £1,000 for every position their drivers make up between qualifying and the checkered flag for the rest of the season. Breast Cancer Care is about to get quite a lot of money. Hey Lance, familiar story, I guess, to the rest of the year, but at least now Sport Pacer is going to pay £1,000 for every place you make up during the race to charity. So, you know, reasons to be cheerful.
Yes, always good to look at the glass half full rather than half empty, right? So, yeah, I mean, frustrating session, but at the same time, you know, it's so close, and my teammate managed to get me by a 10th and scrape through, and it's been the story on a few occasions this season, but it's so close, and you know, it takes everything to get out of Q1 with our current package. So we're chipping away at it. There's definitely a few areas I look back at and I know, if only I could have done that, I could have improved a bit, but it is what it is, and you know, it's very tight.
How's the race pace?
Yeah, I think we're quite strong in the race. We're going to be starting quite far back, so it's going to be tricky, but you know, we can only do what we can do tomorrow.
Thanks. So that was Q1, P20 Kubica, P19 Russell, 18 Stroll, 17 Kvyat and 16 Kevin Magnussen, which took us through to Q2. Now Q2, the interesting part is always looking at the top three teams, who's running what tyre. Now, in Q1, Sebastian Vettel wasn't feeling great with the car, wasn't feeling that he had the pace to go through on medium, so he went out on the soft tyre. It looked like Ferrari was splitting their strategy. Leclerc went out on mediums, Vettel on the softs, the Mercedes went through on the mediums, and the Red Bulls went through on the mediums. Okay, we thought that's going to be it. Set. Then right at the end of the session, Leclerc went and popped in an even quicker time at the top on softs. So we've now got a situation where both Ferraris are starting on softs. The Red Bulls and the Mercedes are going to start on mediums. And all the while, we thought Ferrari were going to split their strategies, split the game for Sunday, and they've not done it. They've opted for the soft. Is that going to prove to be a mistake? It's ultimately put them in a position that they were on in Austria of you know, having that softer tyre, having to make that work, and then having to you know, really make that the if they're going to do a one-stop, the harder tyre run for the rest of the race, while the other guys theoretically will come into the flag on the softer rubber. So wait and see how that one plays out. But in terms of the actual session, who got knocked out? P15, Sergio Perez. So again, a disappointing day for Racing Point. He said he had engine issues from the start of Q2, and that's why he ultimately fell out. P14, Yeah, let's talk to Romain Grosjean. We'll talk to him in a little bit. P13, Carlos Sainz, hugely disappointing. McLaren had looked good all weekend, but he said his rears were going off every lap, getting worse and worse and worse, getting loads of oversteer, rear snapping away from him. He lost half a second between Q1 and Q2. That's why he's P13. Then the two Alphas, who we hadn't expected much from, actually, they're P11 and P12. Raikkonen in 12th didn't really give us much, just said wait and see. All right, and P11, Antonio Giovinazzi outqualified his teammate for the third time in 4 races. Said he made a mistake at the final chicane, gutted. Otherwise, he thinks he could have been top 10, but he gets the free choice of tyres, so otherwise, all good. Let's talk to Romain Grosjean then, because back in the Australia spec car, outqualifies his teammate in the new spec car, but still unhappy. Hello, Romain. First quali back in the old car, which seems quicker than the new car, but still some frustration.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very interesting test that we're doing this weekend, and even though we measure much less downforce on the old package, we're managing to get a faster lap time. So that's very interesting. There's definitely a lot of benefit from the old package in terms of filling, but there's also some weakness. So just trying to get the best of both worlds would be ideal. Q2, definitely something went wrong on background. Just the tires didn't feel the same. Almost lost the car in the start of my first push lap, both push lap. Tire temperature was just not the same, so I don't know what happened in the background. Very frustrating because I had Q3 today in my hands, I'm sure.
The grid then getting nicely set. P15 Perez, 14 Grosjean, who despite a good-ish performance, still unhappy because of the tyre issues that he's just explained. 13 Sainz, 12th Raikkonen, 11th Giovinazzi, which takes us through to Q3. So the big question then, of course, who would take pole position? We already know that both Ferraris are going to start the race on soft, and that the Mercedes and the Red Bulls are going to start the race on the medium tyre. The battle for pole, though, we assumed Charles Leclerc would be in there swinging. We knew the Mercedes would be in there swinging. Could Sebastian Vettel refine his earlier weekend form that he'd seemed to lose through Q1 and Q2? The answer to that was a no. We'll go through the bottom of the order, though. P10, Nico Hülkenberg, happy. Both Renaults in the top 10, bounce back from Austria. P9, Alex Albon, his career best qualifying in Formula One. He's had an amazing weekend. He's been in top 10 for the whole thing and way ahead of his teammate who's down in 17th place. So a really, really good weekend so far for Alex Albon. P8, Lando Norris. Again, another brilliant run from him. He got a little bit of oversteer from Q2 onwards, similar then to Carlos Sainz, unhappy with the rear of that McLaren. P7, Daniel Ricciardo, absolutely delighted, very happy again with the bounce back. Also, I asked him, can he take it then to Sebastian Vettel in 6th? Seb said to us after the session he's been struggling with the car, doesn't think it's got great race pace either, isn't in a great place with it, isn't all that happy. Can Daniel try and fight him? Ricciardo said ultimately if he can come home in 7th tomorrow, he'll be a happy chappy. 6th then Sebastian Vettel. 5th Pierre Gasly, great turnaround from recent woes. He's much happier in the car. And P4 Max Verstappen. We're going to talk to Max Verstappen because yes, the race winner had a good qualifying session. Yes, he starts in the second row of the grid. Yes, he's happy, but he feels there could have been even more. Great run, second row of the grid. Was that expected or a bit of a surprise?
Actually, the whole weekend so far I've been struggling a bit with balance, so we finally then put it together in quali, luckily. But I was also struggling with turbo lag, so when you look at the lap time, then it's a bit of a shame because I think we could have fought for pole. But yeah, with that picking up, well, when you pick up throttle out of the corner and it's not responding straight away, it's not that easy. But still, to be on the second row is good.
It's great. And for the race tomorrow, how do you think the race pace is?
I think, yeah, normally a bit better than in qualifying. We know that we like straight line speed, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So incredibly, Max Verstappen thinks he could have fought for pole position without that turbo lag. What can he do in the race? Both he and Gasly know that that car comes alive in the race because it doesn't quite have that same quali mode as the Ferraris, as the Mercedes. The duel, though, for the top 3. Leclerc had looked phenomenal all the way through the weekend, but he couldn't quite get it done. In the end, it was a battle between the two Mercedes teammates, and it was Valtteri Bottas who came out on top. Lewis Hamilton didn't have an answer to him, but it was ever so close. So it was another Mercedes pole position here at Silverstone, but not for the home hero. Huge performance to continue the Mercedes streak, but most importantly to stop Lewis's streak. How did it feel out there?
Yeah, it felt really good. I've been missing the feeling. Being on pole and good performance, and especially on a track like this that Lewis has been so difficult to beat. So that felt really good.
And Charles had a decent burst of pace as well. Do you feel Ferrari may be a threat tomorrow, or given that you guys are starting on the mediums and for some reason they've gone for the soft, do you think you've got it in hand?
I'm sure they can be a threat tomorrow, and especially beginning of the race. We're starting on the medium, which I think in long term, looking at the race, should be better. But I'm sure we're going to have a good fight with Lewis and maybe also with Ferraris.
So close between you and your team. I know you weren't feeling great with it all yesterday. You feeling better today?
Yeah, I felt better today. And P3 was good, and Q1, run 1 was awesome, and then it just kind of fell apart from them. So, it's crazy. You just have these four stabs at, or five, six stabs at it, and but it just wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a good day. So, frustrated with myself, but it is what it is.
Joy says no points on a Saturday, though. That comes tomorrow. How much are you looking forward to the race? Different strategies all around you. The Ferraris on softs, you guys starting on the mediums.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I think I'm not really sure why they chose that tyre, but maybe it's for the start, maybe. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the start goes. The last year wasn't great for us, so I hope tomorrow's a better one.
And I heard you talking earlier about strategy. Do we think it's going to be a two-stopper or a one-stop?
I think it's quite close between the two. So I think it will kind of be spare the moment thing, depending on how long you can make your tyre last, etc., etc. So I think it's really close between the two. And also with safety cars, potentially, all those kind of things. So.
That last lap was huge. The first sector was incredible. Did you know how far ahead you were after that sector, or was it just head down and keep it nailed?
Well, you have the delta time on the dash compared to your previous best lap, so I knew I was quite ahead. But it's anyway head down and trying to take the most out of the lap, and that's what I did. So I'm very, very happy with this. We have been losing all weekend in the last sector because of an issue with the front end. We don't make it work as good as we would like to, and I think it gives us even more hope, I think, for the future. Seeing in this qualifying, the small gap there is between us and the first position. I'm pretty sure that if we work on that issue with the front end and that we make it the way we want, there's quite a bit of performance in there, so it's looking promising for the future.
You are on a different strategy to both the Red Bulls and the Mercedes guys around you. It surprised a lot of us, but we thought Ferrari might have been splitting the strategy with Seb on the soft and you on the medium.
No, I was actually very happy with the way it was done, and it was exactly as planned. Both of us had to do what we did, so we are happy on that, and we'll see tomorrow.
Drivers leaving the pen, your front row, Valtteri Bottas on pole position from Lewis Hamilton by the scantest of margins, 6/1000ths of a second. Should be a great contest tomorrow. Hamilton so desperately wants to win his home Grand Prix for a 6th time. Valtteri wants to get back to the win. Can Charles Leclerc win his first Formula One race? He's on the alternate strategy, and as Lewis said, it could even be a 2-stop race. Join us for the British Grand Prix, can't wait, and afterwards as well for F1 Live on Twitter. Thanks very much for following along, but for now, that is your lot.